the repercussions of the pistol whipping, because it has damaged both sides, because I was pistol whipped. Boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. So originally I was planning on leaving the conflict between me and my aunt for my book, The Wounded Healer, for the short trauma narrative, how my aunt got me raped. I thought it would be really cool. But after going to the dentist today, I'm really concerned about my ability in the future to tell that story. So I kind of want to say it now, so that way I can feel like I said it. The purpose of me sharing this story is, one, to show the world and whoever is listening that this video comes across. Just because an individual, this is from a mental health professional of over 15 years, well seasoned in providing intensive mental health and behavioral services, as well as a mental health patient. And I want the world to know, just because an individual is experiencing an episode of psychosis does not mean they are not also present in your reality enough to consume information and retain it. As someone who has supported individuals, hundreds of individuals, through psychosis and also experiencing psychosis, I speak from experience. Okay? I have helped clients through psychosis while they are in it, and I'm still assigned to them when they're out of it. So we go back and we talk about, hey, you remember you said these things? Let's put some things in place as a behavioralist so that you don't hurt yourself this way again when psychosis comes. You remember? You remember. This is really close to my heart. It's really hard to say. I get choked up because my auntie Nina, she told my mother the night that I was beaten and raped. My aunt picked me up from the hospital because my first episode really happened at Walmart, where I ended up offending a transgendered woman who still had the physique of a male, and this person attacked me. So I went to the hospital. My aunt picked me up. So she lied, because on the way home from the hospital from Walmart, because I was taken to the hospital and Walmart in an ambulance, which they let me ride alone. My aunt did not ride with me. Nobody rode with me in the ambulance. I rode alone. And I got to the hospital. My injuries were minor, and they let me go. But for whatever reasons, they didn't determine I was in psychosis. I don't know why I wasn't held at the hospital. Like, they said on the report, I said into the cop's camera that I thought at the time I was experiencing a PTSD attack. I didn't know it was bipolar or psychosis. Beside the point, I'm getting off the tangent. My aunt took me home, and I remember telling her, Auntie, I am hearing voices and seeing numbers, and the numbers are talking to me. And she's driving. She doesn't take her eyes off the road. Both hands still on the steering wheel. She says, "You're hearing voices, Sharni? You're seeing numbers?" And I say, yes. She pulls up to my dad's house. Now I want to give you, my dad lives in a very impoverished area. She lives kind of like think of Burbank, Santa Clarita. My dad is like, it's the gutter, right? He drops me off. She lets me know we're home in the house. She takes both my phones from me and tells me the front door is open. No, she tells me the back door is open, because I usually go through the back door, especially in that area. So I'm walking up the steps to the back door, but there's no lights on. It's pitch black. So I walk in, and I'm trying to get in. I can't, because I always struggle opening doors. I can't. So she gets out the car, and she peeks her head, and she goes, "Are you in, Sharni?" And I say, "Almost, Auntie." And then the door opens, it pushes through, and I get in. And I say, "I'm in," but it's pitch dark in the house. And usually, because of my dad is horrible with lights, it's usually always lit in the house. So this is very unusual that it's dark. So I shuffle around and try to find the light switch, and I find the light switch, and I'll save the events of what happened next for my book. But where I'm pissed at is my aunt told my dad, who was in Vegas, he couldn't do anything. She told my dad that she walked me in the house and made sure I took my sleep medicine before I went to sleep. And she stayed with me till I was asleep, and then she left while I was asleep. But the way Sarah Quill puts me down, I know, one, it would have fixed the psychosis. Two, I wouldn't have been able to move for a good 6 to 8 hours. But she did not come in. She did not give me medicine. You know what? That horrible night, I'll save the events. I remember. What's worse is getting home, right? What worse? There's more? Yeah. Getting home. She said she wants to pick me up because I'm just getting home from the hospital. I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks. And my aunt is notorious for having to be, oh, I did this and I did that. See how great of a person I am? That's my auntie. The bougie one. The bougie, stuck up, don't do shit for the family, but makes it seem like she does one. She picks me up and says, because I started making jewelry as a coping skill. I was making these little jewelries, and she picked me up and took me to this really cool bead store in Illinois. And on the way to the bead store, she let me know she was helping me accept my diagnosis of schizophrenia, because that's what I was diagnosed with at the hospital, which is a common blanket diagnosis they kind of give everyone when you come in with psychosis. So if you come into the ER with psychosis, it's automatically schizophrenia regardless, and you can experience psychosis for several reasons, and I'll go into another video as to why. But she was trying to help me accept my diagnosis of schizophrenia, and by telling me that mother, because just so you understand, my grandmother, which is my aunt's mom, is the first of 15, right? So my great-grandmother had 15 children. So she was referring to mother, that's her grandmother, my great-grandmother. And she was telling me as a child, mother would experience episodes of psychosis and end up in other people's houses trying to cook in their kitchen, thinking it's her kitchen. And I was like, oh, wow. So not only did you lie, but you knew exactly what was going on with me when you dropped me off. Whoa. And then, y'all, like, I'm blown the fuck away, right? Because she has no idea I'm a mental health nurse. She does not know the extent of how trained I am in my profession, one, let alone what I truly do. Right? They just know, oh, Charnel, you're smart. Yeah. Okay. So I just shut up, right? And it was hard. It was the hardest shut up because I'm like boiling. I'm like sitting in the driver's seat. This bitch knew, right? And so I'm like, I'm boiling, but I'm like, okay, so you were able to identify psychosis. Y'all, I'm trying to keep it together because right now I'm back in that seat. I had to breathe. I wasn't in the driver's seat. I was in the passenger seat. And I'm listening, and I'm making the connections, and I'm just in shock. And on the way home, she talks about how horrible of an area this is. How as a little girl, she remembers being catcalled during the day. She wouldn't even walk around by herself during the day. This is what she's telling me. And I'm just trying to keep it together as long as I can. And I get out and I run in the house, and I remember I just break down because I'm like trying to make sense of this. It's like my aunt knew I was in psychosis, knew what psychosis looked like, and lied to my parents and said that she made sure I was asleep. What do you do with that information? You want to add a little bit more? She's a registered nurse of 30 plus years. She's not a CNA. She's not a CNA. I don't have CNAs in my family. You a nurse. Yeah. She's a registered nurse. So she had medical authority to even keep me in the fucking hospital. She had medical authority and didn't use her own medical authority. when she identified, because she could have turned around and dropped me right back at the hospital instead of going back the other way. Y'all, the hospital was closer to her house than my daddy's house was. She went on her way to drop me off. The hospital was closer to her house than my daddy's house was. Yeah. Nina a piece of shit. And this is why I can't come around Nina again, because I know I'm a snap. This is why I said this is not an invitation. When I made that post and said, fuck Nina, that, oh, now she wants to sit down and have a conversation. No. Because I will not be using words, baby. Not at all. Anything, I don't even want to use my fist. I want to use anything I can get my hands on. If it's a pillow, yeah, whatever I can get my hands on. That's why you can't come around me. Let's add a little bit of salt to the fire too, or, fuel to the fire. Salt to the wound. Her husband that she has been with before I was born is a detective. They know how fucked up that area is more than anybody. He's a detective, not a police officer. No. A police officer wouldn't have as much information as he does. So that's my family. I needed to get that off my chest. Whew. Dennis confirmed the infection is still there. Just so you guys know, after my aunt dropped me off because I was not asleep, because I was the only one home, I ended up wandering in one of the worst cities in America. And this is why I'm having the dental problems that I'm having, because after my aunt dropped me off, I got into an altercation where I was pistol whipped and raped. And now I'm dealing with the repercussions of the pistol whipping, because it has damaged both sides, because I was pistol whipped. Boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. So, one tooth there gone, one tooth there gone, right? So, in addition to them missing, they're both infected. Because this has been about 2 years ago. So now it's an infection, not just in the tooth, but in the bone. And it just so happens that these are the worst teeth to need to come out, because they are in the navel, the sinus area, the nasal cavity of the face. So they're the deepest bones that need to come out. 1, 2, they both have to come out. Once they come out, it's going to leave a major gap in my face. So they want to pack it with bone graft, which is where the issue is, that I don't have the money for the bone graft. Them not packing it with bone graft will make it harder to eat. It'll make when I drink, stuff will come out my nose quicker. Just complications I don't want to deal with, in addition to jaw deterioration. So I don't fuck with that side of the family, really. So it's no asking them for help. The last time I asked them for help, I was in Vegas, and I needed a mattress. My aunt, my grandma, and my daddy, if all of them just gave me $25 each, if all of them gave me $50 each, I could have got me something, right? Nobody could come off nothing, right? And I was asking them, can you help me get a mattress? Because I used all the money that I had to move into this apartment, because I was homeless and sleeping in my car. And I asked them, I need help getting a mattress so I'm not sleeping on the floor, because with bipolar disorder, if you do not get adequate sleep, it will send you into psychosis, which ended up happening. I went into psychosis in Vegas and was sexually assaulted in Vegas while I was in psychosis. So asking them for assistance is out. I've already been there, done that, not doing it. I'm going to figure this out I'm not really asking my mother for assistance because she supports my daughter a lot. So, and has supported me a lot, right? So this is my fight, right? My mom can send me prayer and love, but this is my fight. So I'm going to figure something out. I usually do, but my concern is that now the infection's on both sides of my face. They were concerned that the infection seep to the back of my head, which could cause some complications with like cognition and ability and movement and motor and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I didn't want it to progress that far before I told the world what you did, Nina.